I really need to get a chair in this room because I'm always sitting on the floor and the floor is always very messy. Hey guys, welcome to my channel, and today is all about building a baby panther chameleon enclosure. This kind of goes for like any chameleon, so if you have a different kind of chameleon or you want to get a different kind of chameleon, you're good. This is a video you can watch. So panther chameleons are one of my absolute favorite animals. They are so cool. And I'll touch on one thing. A lot of you know that I pretty much only adopt animals or rescue animals. I really don't purchase from breeders very much. And the reason for that is pretty obvious, I think. I don't have to spell it out. But a couple people had asked me about panther chameleons, and so did my boyfriend actually. He's like, how come you're not rescuing one? And with panther chameleons, they typically are never seen for adoption or for rescue. And my theory on that is that they're such expensive animals that, I mean, when you're saving up, you know, $200, $400, $600, which is the range that they're in, I think my eyelash is falling off, you know, you're typically pretty serious about the animal and you've done your research, because that's quite the investment. Oh my gosh, my female panther, the little baby, she's hanging from the top of her screen, which I talk about in this video. So as it turns out, they kind of just do it sometimes because they're being ornery. Okay, so some of the really important things for baby panther chameleons is the size of enclosure. You really want to make sure that you don't have an enormous enclosure. I am the type of person that I like to give my animals as much space as they possibly can. Like if I had a 10,000 square foot house, I'd be like perfect, because I could build these massive enclosures, and that's something that I really like to do. So it's hard for me with this one to kind of pull back and be like, all right, no, they need a smaller enclosure. And the reason for that is that they need to be able to hunt their food. And so, you know, they're only this big when you get them. So they are quite tiny. So with that being said, if you put them in a giant enclosure, they're gonna have a hard time finding any food or hunting, and it's gonna be kind of a rare occurrence that they come across their food. So with a smaller enclosure, they're able to find their heat source, their UVB, their water source, and their food a little bit better. And so they can hunt, and you can make sure that they're eating what they're supposed to be eating. Also, it's much easier to find them for you in a smaller enclosure. So typically you can do I can't remember the size, it's like a 12 by 12 by, this one's like, I think it's like a 12 by 18 by 18 or something like that. It's quite small. It's, you know, it's one of the little Zillow ones. The one that I'm putting together in this video, I love the size of this cage, but I really don't like, she's crawling on the screen again, it's driving me nuts. I really don't like the fact that the bottom panel doesn't pop out. It makes it a lot more difficult for the water source and for cleanup. So I'm not a huge fan of this cage. Also, the little latches on it, I'm thinking about returning it actually, because they're so difficult to open and close. Anyways, I would stick with a Reptibreeze, like I think they have an extra small or a small. I'll leave a bunch of links in the description box below for you. So that's gonna be one important thing. And then I kind of talk about this throughout the video, but providing a good water source is gonna be really important, and humidity for your baby. So it's pretty exciting. Panther chameleons they can hatch as soon as up to 6 months from being laid, but sometimes they're in that egg for like 12 to 14 months. So it's quite a long time that your baby is being created in this little egg. It's really, really cool. In the future, I might breed mine. I don't really know. It's a lot of responsibility, so I have to really do my research on that one. But they are such cool, rewarding animals. Like, they're so freaking cool. Switch to the night before, where I look just so stunning. I have like this old lady bun on my head because my hair is so greasy. This is a Piper. Can I have a minute, please? I love you too. I'm busy filming a video for a different animal. This is a Zilla cage. I bought this on Amazon I bought it on PetSmart. It literally was same day delivery. It was $62. You can find these used a lot of times on Facebook Marketplace, etc. You just really wanna make sure that you clean it out very, very well, because you don't know if the reptile that was in it before had mites or something. So for misting and humidity, it's really important to keep babies super humid. I mean, every chameleon at any stage of life, but specifically babies, they're extra fragile. Chameleons in general are particularly fragile. And if you're interested on hearing a little bit more about my take on Panther Chameleon care, I will link that video for you below. I'll also link pretty much everything you're gonna see in this video and more. I purchased a bunch of plants off of Amazon. I prefer to buy plants for like decorating someone's house and stuff as opposed to actual reptile plants for the most part, because they are so much cheaper. I mean, you can get like, let me just show this to you. I got this entire garland that you can wrap around things. I think I got this entire like 30-foot thing for like $8. Maybe even less, but you do need to wash everything and rinse it before you put it inside of your chameleon's enclosure, or any animal's enclosure for that matter, because as you can see, there is dye and dust and grime and just all sorts of stuff on this stuff before you wash it. So very important. Another thing I wanted to point out is I used to always save like little twist ties from different packaging and things that I would get, because it's perfect for attaching, you know, all of the goodies that you're putting in here. So like attaching it to the sides and the top and whatever. But I actually just found this whole roll of green twist tie material stuff for about $6 on Amazon. And it is like, there's a lot. So I've got some gorgeous sticks here with this like awesome moss on here. So look at that, actually, it's so cool. So I got these out of an abandoned lot in my neighborhood, and I baked them in the oven at 250 for about an hour. And you definitely wanna make sure you're home, because if one of these twigs is touching the things in your oven that get hot and heated up, I don't know why I can't think of the word, you could potentially have a fire. So I baked them for about an hour to make sure that there's nothing living on here anymore, and just to sanitize them. Also, keep in mind that you're gonna have heating and lighting on top here, so you don't want to hang stuff all over the top, because you don't wanna prevent your chameleon from getting the UVB that it needs, as well as the heat that it needs. So keep that in mind when you are decorating. One thing that I look for when it comes to plants that I'm using for a chameleon's enclosure, chameleons drink their water off of the leaves. So you really need to keep in mind that you need like leaves that are big enough for water to formulate on, and drops of water. This freaking screen is so freaking tiny. I don't even know if this is gonna fit through it. That's another really helpful thing is fishing line. If you're decorating an enclosure, it can come in handy for, you know, hanging things that you don't want like something to be super visible. This was also a really fun find. These were $11.99. They're Mossy Sticks. Unfortunately, my Panther Chameleon that I had purchased these for was way too big, and these definitely would not have held his weight. So with a baby chameleon, it's so much easier because you can wedge branches between the different sides, and it'll hold them. But as they get bigger and heavier, it becomes increasingly hard to find things that their weight doesn't just pull right off of the sides of the cage. I really love this one that I got from Amazon because it looks the realest. Word to the wise, much easier to work on if the doors are removed. So I would recommend doing that. When it comes to branches, you want to make sure that you're not using anything that's too fragrant or toxic. I read through the care guide for Panther Chameleons from the breeder that I purchased from, and they had some really great information in there, so I'll link that for you guys in the description. But the other thing is that a lot of people just put like bamboo in their chameleons cages, which I always thought was all right until I read through the care guide, and it makes a lot more sense what they said. So Basically, you want to find branches from all different diameters. So some that your chameleon's little mitts can wrap all the way around, and then some that they can't quite get their feet all the way around. So you're gonna want to avoid actually grape burls and things like that because they can't really grip those super well. And you'll notice if your chameleon is kind of just like crawling on the sides of the cage, that's a sign that there's just not enough horizontal branches for them to climb on. Strong enough for this. Where is Nick when I need him? You're gonna wanna make sure also that you are kind of paying attention to how much space is between where your bulb's gonna go. My bulb is gonna go over here in the corner. So I'm going to try and, I'm going to make it so that it's the proper distance below the bulb, so that the heating spot is, you know, the proper temperature, which when we get to that step, I will put all the information on the screen. I luckily have like so many heat bulbs that I can kind of just place these where I want and make it work. And again, you can always move these around. I just moved the cage upstairs, and so what I'm gonna do now is add my heating and my lighting. And this is going to be my heat spot right here, and my UVB is gonna kind of span the length of the cage just because this cage is so freaking small. So, and then you're also going to want to write the date on your UVB light. Typically there is a spot where you can write the date right here. So you wanna make sure you write that on there because it needs to be switched out about every 6 months or so because it loses its power, I guess you could say. I bought this on Amazon. This is a timer. It's a little bit less expensive than buying the reptile ones, not by much, but about by $5. This side is always on, so if you're using, you know, it's winter and you need to keep the ambient temperature higher and you're always gonna have a bulb on that just emits heat and no light, you can put that here, or if you have a water feature, but I've got the UVB connected to the timed side, and these, you'll have to read the instructions, but very easy to figure out. So that's what I'm gonna be using for both chameleons. Zip tying some branches together just to create even more support and more places for the chameleon to walk. Whenever you use zip ties and you cut them, you're gonna wanna use a nail file because that plastic is going to be a bit sharp. Okay, I'm gonna add this like fun little crystal in here. I know it's kind of bare on the bottom, but I want it to be easy to clean and I want it to be easy to see all the bugs and whatnot. So this is all I'm gonna do for now. We'll check back in the morning and I'm gonna sleep on it and see if there's anything else I wanna add before we add our baby chameleons. But here's what we've got so far. Lots of different sticks in different sizes to climb on, and lots of leaves to drink from. So far, so good. Okay, what I'm gonna do is spray down my cages before I put them in here so that there's some moisture. And I'm gonna put a panel in the back so that I'm not spraying my wall. But this is really great. I got this at a garden store and it is so awesome. So I'm just making sure that there is enough water on the branches. Oh, look, there's already food in there. And then I'm gonna put some crickets in here and then put my female in this one. I also wanted to show you guys this because these are really affordable. They're about $12. And with this little nozzle down by the P's of dripper, by the little lizard's head right there, you can actually set the drip speed that you'd like. And if you have a pan in your enclosure, you can actually set this, fill it up about halfway and set it on a leaf from the top of the enclosure so that it will drip throughout the day, and your chameleon will learn that it can go over that leaf and drink from it. So this is another solution. If you can't afford the misting systems, they are quite expensive, and if you're not gonna be home to mist throughout the day. There she goes.
Oh, halfway. What do you think? You want to go all the way in there or just a little bit? You're not sure yet?
All right, so I'm gonna be misting these guys throughout the day, and thank you guys so much for watching. There will be some more videos with these guys, but if you can leave some name ideas below. I think I might have decided on a name duo, but I'm still open to suggestions. So if you have a good idea, leave it in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.